Hey FishTube, Steven here with just a short follow-up video to my livebearer mosh pit tank tour. I wanted to identify the plants that are in here just in case anyone is curious. After all, they are pretty much essential to this whole setup working the way it does. So starting with the floating mess, we have some pearlweed. All of it started out planted, but even with plant weights, it doesn't ever get enough time to establish roots and stay down. The guppies and platies are always so aggressively poking around for something to eat in the substrate, and smooth aquarium gravel ain't the best thing for keeping stem plants in place. But luckily, pearlweed is just as happy being a floating plant. Second are stem plants like this Louisiana, Kabamba, Pogostemon stellatus octopus, and water Wisteria. I keep this in some of my neatly planted display tanks, so when I do a trim and pull out some of the old stems, a lot of these old stem bottoms wind up in here. Of course, you gotta have the water sprite, a common go-to plant for consuming nitrates. I float them, but also plant a few in the substrate like the water Wisteria, which is another nitrogen sponge like the water sprite. In the substrate up front, we have narrow leaf chainsword. Stays down better than the pearlweed since the root system is longer and more spread out, and it's sending out runners. But why it's propagating all the way into this cave is a mystery to me. Then we have what was sold to me as Starogyn repens, or S. repens, but I'm pretty sure it's not. I had a lot of it in my living room display along with real S. repens, and you can easily see the difference. Just from a quick Google, it might be the Portobello variety. I don't know, this crap is kind of ugly in my opinion, or maybe I'm just biased because it's not what I wanted. But I have a hard time throwing plants away, so here it is. There are two red sword plants. This Amazon sword pretty much owns the tank. The leaves are taking over the top and the roots are taking over the bottom. My experience with sword plants has been they always start really slow and then one day they can't be contained. I trimmed this Amazon sword in early February, probably removed half the leaves. Now, 3 months later, it's dominating again. I don't use root tabs at all in this tank anymore. The fish poop seems to do the job. In the front, I have some Wisteria gigantea, which came from some runners I pulled out of my 90-gallon. And this is some Anubias that travels around the tank occasionally. I also have a few crypt winteis that came from runners in other tanks. Crypts seem to thrive everywhere in any of my tanks, so I like it for that reason alone. And that about covers it. I'm sure the plant situation will change in the coming months as I rotate stems out. Thanks for giving this a look-see. Please hit the like button and subscribe if you want more random aquatic content like this. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions. Pretty much every plant in here is easy to keep, so if you're a beginner, you can't go wrong with any of these. Well, maybe not this stuff. Just keep in mind how easily certain plants like an Amazon sword can really take over a tank and your light. See you later.